Welcome everyone to the February Crush the Chaos. This is where we are coming together basically to kind of cut through the hype of what we're seeing out in the arena on YouTube and the news channels about automations and AI and other business-oriented things, and just kind of get to I guess what you could call the nitty-gritty of what happens inside of our businesses and our workplaces. Um, Essentially, what I like to try to do on these events is kind of cut through some of the hype and kind of help figure out how to reduce the overwhelm, how maybe you can have some ideas on gaining some more of your time freedom back through maybe better systems, whether that's automation or using AI. Possibly get some ideas to go to your company on how to integrate AI into your business. Myself, my name is Philip Brown. I am a systems and automation strategist. I have owned a company called Blue Pit for 20 years now that does automations and integrations for large corporations. Um, Also part owner in a advisory company called Inertia Advisors. And basically, what that company does is advises founders and business owners and helps them kind of get on the right path with regards to organization, creating SOPs, processes, and systems within their business so that everything runs pretty smoothly. I'm also creator of a book called Ghost CEO, which I'm hoping to release over the next couple months. And then obviously my mission is to help other leaders escape the weeds, the chaos, and build a business that can run on autopilot so you can work on your business instead of in your business. Two of the guests that I have today, one is Dr. Amir Kahani. And Dr. Amir, I'll let you kind of introduce yourself a little bit. I've got a little bio up here for you, but feel free.
Okay, thank you very much. First of all, thank you for having me here. It's a great pleasure, and also a great pleasure to meet Dr. Usman. Uh, my name is Dr. Amir Kahani. In the um, tech arena for more than 3 decades. At the current time, I work with a tech company, especially those who sells complex solutions like deep tech, and I help them to reduce the sales cycle time, meaning reduce the customer acquisition cost and improve customer lifetime value by presenting a new holistic approach that brings or increase the trust of his customers in order to create a long and sustainable business relationship.
Awesome. And next we have Dr. Usman.
Thanks,
Dr.
Philip,
Usman.
for having me here. It's really a great honor to meet you and Dr. Amir. So I have been living and working in Dubai past almost 25 years. So I have been I started my career as a university professor here in one of the leading university from UAE. I have been a public sector director managing the smart cities initiatives for one of the states. And from past more than 18 years, I have been helping companies around the world for their market acceleration. So any company who are looking to expand, for example, in the Middle East, Asia Pac, or even a European region, they normally love working with us because we help them to expand very fast with almost a one-third cost. And we help them basically in winning key strategic projects, specifically in the technology area in more than 18 countries around the world, including Middle East. I also work as a trusted advisor for several presidents, prime ministers in Asia, Africa, Middle East, where I'm helping different countries basically on the economic development side in the areas of like smart cities, healthcare, education, infrastructure development, green energy, And we also facilitate basically a public-private partnerships or BOT-based projects and the funding specifically for the public sector projects. Um, so it has been quite a long journey, and I am really very excited to be the part of basically overall development which is happening in the MENA region, specifically in UAE. I have delivered several projects in the Emirates and other Middle Eastern countries, and still embarking on the journey to basically help companies, help countries to have a better um, effective returns on investment, specifically for their vision strategies and the technology related projects in the region. So I work with several partners around the world, and that makes us very special basically, and we are able to fulfill basically very fast the requirements for any specific projects in smart cities or in tech industry or AI or blockchain.
Awesome. Thank you so much. What I'd like to do now is we'll go ahead and start into the specific presentations. I know, Dr. Amir, you have a presentation that you prepared for us today. Let me see if I can give you the share rights, I think. Let's see. Are you able to share? Yep, there we go.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, now we are in the share mode. So again, thank you all for being here. It's a great pleasure and a great honor for me. And I would like to take you into a journey to understand why growth stalls in complex tech or in complex sales as a whole. And it is not what most people think and not what you are thinking right now. It's not about go-to-market or product market fit. It's not about execution, and it's not about demand generation. It's something else. It's something that it's hidden down the sales cycle, and it's focusing on the hesitation of our buyer or potential buyer that caused because of the buyer risk management. I encourage you to look on this chart. As you can see, we have here two lines. One, the dots, is speaking about the market velocity. As you all know, today there is great demand for technology as a whole, for AI, deep tech, SaaS, and other complex products because the market is running very fast and we need those types of solution. However, what's happening is that the decision velocity is like at a flat. Based on my research, I found out that even though the market needs more solutions, however, the decision is actually not follow the same level. And this particular gap, it's called the frictional point, what I call it, is demonstrate when and why you are losing money and growth stuck. And it's because you are not manage the buyer risk. And that's what we will speak in the following slides. We all know how the sales process start, regular stuff. We do it all the time. And down the road, something happened. And the main thing that we can see is, and it's not only us, it's also our competitors, that even that the market has demands and there is a needs, however, the same decision stretch. Instead of taking weeks, it takes months. And this cause to a discount because now the CRO or the VP sales or the CEO start pushing the revenue team, bring me the deals. So what is the best tool that the revenue team has is giving discount. The end results, less profit. And again, it is not only our problem, it's also our competitors' market and problem, even though that the market is being changed. So let's see the process itself. The customer has a need, he has some problems, he starts seeking for a solution. He found out a couple of suppliers, bring them to the table, and he starts the regular process of marketing papers, brochures, then demo, specking, and so on and so on and so on. Now it's the time that the buyer that needs this solution start looking inside his company, and actually without that we know this. And what happened? He, the buyer, is looking on the other units, the economic units, the economic buyer, the top management, the board, his colleagues, his manager, his CEOs, where everybody asking those same three questions. And he needs to defend on this, on his decision based on those three questions. So the first one is, why this solution? You have competitors, Mr. The guy that needs this solution. Why do you think that this particular solution is the best one? Do you trust him? Do you see how his solutions support our business? And why now? The economic buyer will say, listen, why shouldn't we postpone the decision a later time where we have more cash? The CEO will say, wait a minute, is this too emergency right now? And the last one is, why this price? Because we all know nowadays that it's a habit to give a discount. So push the customer, push the supplier, ask for another discount. All those questions through the entire decision process internally inside the buyer organization cause one thing, everything is stop or stretch or take a longer time. In the meantime, we invest in the customer acquisition cost because still we have a salesperson that they run after them, sending material, follow up, another demo, and so on and so on. Based on my experience after more than 3 decades in sales, it's immediately that the salesperson or the revenue team will stare and say, listen, it's a misalignment or it's the buyer resistance. They all say it. However, this is not the main point. The main point is that we do not know how to manage the buyer risk. What do I mean by buyer risk? You know, we cannot ignore that our buyers is a human being with the same emotional, with the same fears, with the same needs of recognition, of safety, taking the right decision, the fear of missing out, how I look in front of my colleagues. So the customer, the buyer, and the entire chain inside the buyer company, including the economic buyers, including the management level, they all stay in the same state. They have fears of the risks. It can take a long time to reduce this risk, but it's always there. And this is one crucial point that most of the methodology, the business methodology, the sales methodology, and so on, do not speak about, do not recognize it, that the buyer has some fears that we need to take care, we need to handle this. And this is a very important thing, it is not the salesperson problem, if I may call it problem or challenge. It's a management issue, not a salesperson. And be aware again, and this is the last time that I will recall this, the same issue also occur inside our competitors. So be aware to manage the buyer risk, to manage the buyer fears, to understand why and what we should do. Logically, what happened? We and our competitor start visiting our potential customer presentation and so on and so on. And we send him a marketing staff website, we make a research and our customer make a research on us with the AI and so on and so on. So the end result is that the customer heard the same speech, the same value proposition, the same wording, the same presentation, maybe the same features from different solution provider. And that's why in my PhD, I was able to demonstrate that value is not the right term because you cannot monetize it properly. It is dependent on the circumstances, on your culture, on your situation, so many aspects. And what I found out that there is a different, more innovative terms that called unique business contribution. And the unique business contribution mean how money-oriented, monetized value, how your solution help me, the buyer, to reach my business goals in front of my buyers, and how we help his buyers down the value chain. Meaning that the entire value chain should feel the true contribution that your solution brings. When it is unclear, meaning continue speaking with the term value that is the same of most of the companies, and again, it is not monetized and it's not clear, then the decision makers feel higher risk, higher fears. They are afraid to do the wrong decision. And then what? They come to us, they say, listen, we need price reduction. Why is this? It's not because it is expensive for them. It's because that we, as the sellers, would not able to demonstrate them why they should select my or choose my solution as a way to improve their business goals in front of their customer, throughout the entire value chain. So the only way that the economic buyers can justify this purchase, if he's not sure about the other factors, is discounts. And that's why we are currently more and more and more give discounts and low price just to be in the game. To solve this issue, I created a different concept. However, I will start differently. Value-based pricing is a well-known concept, and most of the companies, and I will not say if they are doing it right or not, but conceptually, they put it as a standalone at the end of the sales process, but it's not correct. Why? Because you need the entire pyramid stand in the right way from bottom up as a process that was able to hold the value-based pricing strategy as a way that I, the seller, will mention the price, will ask the price that respect my solution. So how should I build the relationship with my customer? First of all, it's the new term that I call it unique business contribution. As I mentioned before, it's the way that I, the seller, help you, the buyer, to stand to reach your business goals in front of your customers, and how he will do the same in front of his customers down the value chain until the end consumer. When all the chain increase their values, everybody feel trust. So the UBC is the North Star that has two objects. One is the internal North Star, meaning that all the units are working together, fully synced together for external point. He is the customer. Today, what happened? Most of the companies, every department work internally, not together to reach the customer needs. So the UBC is the foundation of a new concept that changed the way that we are doing business, and the second layer is the business structure based on what you've promised to your customers. When you promise is your uniqueness, your benefits, your KPI, how you manage here, the ethical aspect, how I work with you, and many other factors that is installed inside, then I build the right business process management and the right business structure that support the UBC. And then the marketing and sales execution to deliver those ideas in terms of business output, not feature, not value, business output, and on top of this, the value-based pricing. So what happened in our customer mind or emotional aspect? First of all, you know exactly what he will gain. Secondly, he sees that the entire company is really customer-centric, not only say it, but act and work and committed to his success. Then sales and marketing, what are actually doing is just support to those assumptions and bring them into reality. It's a way to demonstrate the potential customer and tell him, listen, our goal is not to sell you. We come here to serve you. It's a way that you will succeed and you will be able to sell more. The entire section that is built upon my book on business ethics create a great relationship, a great trust between the seller and the buyer. And I call it the triple win. Win for the seller, win for the buyer, and win to the entire stakeholders. And only then I can price it correctly. Many in sales team thinks that pricing is the top most important thing. It is not. On inside this is the AI. Every part, every step that I mentioned build upon AI support is a well-known use of AI that he can analyze the market, he can create the right speech to the right person based on your own UBC. I have an agent with a calculation of pricing. It's a very unique one that take into consideration many aspects. So the AI and the IT is the essential part of building this structure that the end result is trust. And trust is the new currency. So what happened? What is the end results of all this? When I build everything correct and I encourage my potential customer that we will create a trust and ethical relationship, faster decision that reduce the customer acquisition cost and improve the customer lifetime value because our customer knows now that he should work with us because it is own benefits and its own goals and fewer discount. And that's what we actually want. To conclude, what we do at Valorg, three topics. First of all, we work with the customer. We're not consulting, we're not coaching, we're not mentoring. We work with him, maybe like a teacher, and clarify the business outcomes that he brings to his value chain or business chain. Then, by using neuropsychoanalysis terms, psychology aspect, different sales process, and different marketing presentation, we reduce buying risk. And most importantly, we turn trust into pricing power, meaning that the price will demonstrate why your customer has a trust in you. And the end results is more profit. One, it's very important. However, my goal is to create a better world. Now, if I, as a seller, will emphasize my ethic principle, I will follow those principles, I will create trust, and I will do good for the society, then we earn a better world for ourselves, for our children, and for the entire society. So thank you very much. And I hope that I give you some value to your activities. So thank you, Philip.
Awesome. Thank you, Dr. Amir. Really appreciate that. And let's see, we'll go ahead and
Thank you, Doctor. It was quite an eye-opening.
yeah. If you want to go ahead and share, Dr. Usman, we can go ahead and move into your speech.
Sure.
We allow? Yep. There we go. Awesome.
Can you see it?
Yes. By the way, I love how both of you have kind of embraced using AI to actually make your slide decks. So,
Yeah, that's I mean, either we like it or we don't like it. We have to adopt an AI, and that's the message today. So, again, thank you very much, Dr. Amir. Uh, it was quite an eye-opening. That's exactly how I work with most of my international clients. That how we can basically help them to expand their businesses on a one-third cost of saving basically on the professional services side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about the AI role in professional services in the coming next 5 to 10 years time. Or in fact, I must say that uh, the market have become quite competitive at the moment, and it is there is a race basically in a countries like even United Arab Emirates for the AI adoption for SME sector, for public sector, and also for many other large organizations. So I put few slides here just to give an audience an idea about the understanding of an AI, and especially from a professional services point, what sort of business impact we're going to have, how we can measure the benefits, how we can have an effective return on investment, and what will happen if we ignore the adoption of the AI in our businesses. And then we talk about navigating challenges. So sometimes we have fantastic ideas, but we talk about ethics and we talk about barriers, we talk about regularity compliance. So all these are basically very interesting topic for every CEO or C-level community to discuss. And then what is the future vision? So how do we see what's happening down the line in the next 5 to 10 years? I have been a part of several vision strategies for several countries, for several cities, organizations. I even also help specifically tech companies how they should look like in the next 5 years, 10 years time. Because sometimes you're so busy in doing great business, you have great pipeline, but you really need to align yourself that how well you are aligned with the future innovation. So this is where the people like me comes in as a board member and help them in aligning their future strategies, future innovation. So when we talk about like the AI in the professional industry, I mean artificial intelligence, leverage advanced algorithms and machine learning, and especially it helps the decision making process to automate basically complex tasks, so we can't deny it. So if you look at the historical evolution, so now we have moved from simple rule based systems of the mid 20th centuries to today's sophisticated neural networks and deep learning models that are empowering professional services. And one of the things I would love to highlight here is like a large organization starting from IBM, Tata, and then when we talk to the Amazon and all these people, they have started eliminating several jobs, especially in the professional services domain for the mid-level workers. And down the line, in the next 5 years, we're gonna have around 300 to 500 million jobs which gonna disappear. So I have spoken about this topic in several of my conferences, and this is something what we really need to do. We need to also look into as decision maker or C-level community that how ethically we are strong, what sort of like a backend strategy we have to keep the good talent alive, how we can train our people on the adoption of new or innovative technologies. Moving forward, so while leading firms are basically racing towards the AI adoption. So as Dr. Amir was mentioning, in today's competitive world, we are talking about basically how we can have an effective ROI strategy in place. And that's always questions on the table of the CFOs, CIOs, and all the C-level community. So competitive edge, what is the competitive advantage you have? So this basically AI adoption, specifically in the professional services, it really helps you to optimize your operation, personalize customer experience, understanding your customers in a better way, and developing innovative, services, and come out of the box for value-added services for your customers. And this is basically brings an efficiency revolution where you have enhanced productivity by automating routine tasks, making sure that you are eliminating human errors and providing real-time data analysis and informed. We have been, when I was a CIO in one of the states here. So I remember when we started developing the websites and start putting the GIS system in place, and we were messing around with several legacy applications, those sort of issues. But now when we talk about 2026, we have well-refined data available, and data is the new gold at the moment. So how effectively you can strategize, how you can use those, innovation, or specifically agentic AI to basically help you to automate, a lot of tasks and processes and eliminated human errors. And this is basically the people in the industry, either they are from tech or non-tech, if they are not updating their knowledge or they are not learning the new skills, so down the line they are going to be wiped out. And this is basically where the industry is heading. So this is where I always emphasize that the organizations should basically have some sort of like a skill set roadmap for their own employees, and give them, and especially if you look into the dynamics of the working industry, it has changed a lot since COVID 2020. Most of the organizations, they are working on basically agile strategies to give sense of belongingness to the workers who are working remotely, and making sure they feel that they are the part of the company. They feel their future is secured. So those are some of the tactics we really have to keep in mind, and making sure that we have while we are having a fantastic, AI strategies in place, we should make sure that we have also an agile HR strategies also, to make sure that the people don't lose trust in the company. So talking about the adoption of AI, especially in the professional services, I used it a lot, and I think we have internally improved a lot in terms of the legal services. So this is where I see down the line that a lot of basic legal services are going to disappear from the law firms, because there are tools, there are like applications which are available, which can help you to review the document. So for example, if anything comes to my desk, I give it to certain, I use certain tools to basically analyze the data from a simple contract. What is in it for me? What is missing? What are the jurisdictions laws we are talking about? Though I'm not a lawyer, but it helps me as a CEO to understand what is coming on my table, and I can have a better analysis as compared to the lawyer, using basically an AI system. And then we talk about the predictive analysis, which is something very important. So analyzing thousands of, as I said, like the data availability is there. So how you can analyze a trend, how you can better understand your customers, how you can basically have, a customized or legal optimization of the legal strategies, and understanding the success probabilities. I also sit at the board of several companies in US, UK, Middle East, Africa. So I really understand the mindset quite well, and it always helped me to understand, and to do basically sort of predictive analysis, that what sort of like problems we're gonna face down the line. And this is something where AI is really making your life easy. And then another thing which is very interesting, contract management. So normally any department, or any purchasing department or head of the department, they really fight for having the best contract in place. But once the contract is already placed, they are unable to understand down the line what have they really saved out of that contract. So contract management part, spend analysis, and monitoring, reviewing. So let's say we ordered a certain quantity of the a certain material, are we getting on the same price? So all those sort of things basically make an like major impact on your financial balance sheet. So this is where basically again the AI is playing an excellent role to identify that, okay, you signed a fantastic contract, you saved million of dollars, you negotiated very well, but when at the end of the day, when you look at your balance sheet, you end up spending more money. So this is something very, very amazing. And I have seen several medium to large scale organization they are really focusing on, and even the I sit at the board of a couple of universities also here in Emirates, and they also look into this quite seriously at how they are managing their contracts with multiple vendors. Similarly, in the finance industry, audit automation, fraud detection, you can also easily monitor the transaction, and especially for the law firm and for the banks, for the public sector, AI is getting seriously involved. This is my favorite one. AI powers marketing excellence. I have worked, done several hundred projects, and the most important part we always focus that when we implement this project, what will be the impact of this project on our customers? So how effective you we are in understanding the customer behavior. So we spend millions of dollars in having fancy, nice, agile applications, ERP system, improving the current legacy application. But at the end of the day, our main objective is to make sure that we understand the customer behavior. Organizations, either private, public, only those are successful according to the, several research reports around the world who understand the customer behavior. They understand massively what their customer are waiting for. Either you're talking about hospitality industry, you're talking about public sector, you're talking about interaction in the education sector. And then by using AI tools, what you can do, you can run a personalized campaign, basically, which offers you, the customer engagement 50 to 60%. Let's say I go and stay in a five-star hotel in Burj Khalifa, for example, or Burj Al Arab. So they exactly know how much I have spent last year, what is my favorite wine and dine, what are my favorite hobbies. And according to that, according to the personality, according to the persona, they keep pushing me all the marketing material which is related to my interest. And this is happening big time into every industry. Either you're doing online shopping, or you're using public services, or even you're ordering food using your mobile phone at home. And you can take it at any level. And then, of course, that helps you to drive your sales forecast. It helps you to increase your sales forecast once you know exactly your customer, their age group, their likes or dislikes. And this is where AI is making really a life super easy for several decision makers across the globe. And then, of course, at the end of the day, we talk about the benefits, like transformative business benefits, I must say. So how we can increase the efficiency. So this is where basically most of the organizations they have seen that I'll give you some examples also. I got two case studies here to talk about. So 30 to 40%, time of operational procedures through automation, allowing teams to focus on high value strategic activities while reducing operational cost from 20 to 25%. I think that's great, and it can be increased if you are focused and you have the right AI strategy and tools in place. Then you have enhanced decision making. And of course, when you are sitting on a 360-degree data view where you can see what's happening with your organization, who is increasing, using what, and what sort of transactions you are doing, how you are responding to the customer. So it helps you to basically increase your decision making process up to 60%. And then improved client service, of course, it helps you. So once you have all this data, so AI enable personalized solution tailored by individual need, reduce response time by 70%, and increase client satisfaction for from 25 to 40%, which is, I think, really cool. And also, well, when we talk about the benefits, we need to look into the critical challenges for the AI. And this is something very, very interesting. And unfortunately, I have not seen when we talk about the ethical concerns. So let's say we have a project of autonomous cars, and then we decided to bring around 10,000 autonomous car in a city, and then those 10,000 cars will be replaced they are successful, it will be replaced with the drivers who are averagely driving cars 24 by 7. So normally in like Middle Eastern countries, so we have two drivers who are driving one car, cab, and they run it 24 by 24 hour, 24 by 7. But if we replace that one car with one autonomous, like car with driverless, a cab, so these 10,000 into 20,000 people gonna lose their jobs. So now my question is, do we have basically an ethical strategy in place to save the job of these 20,000 people? I remember I brought the first robot, the small one in Dubai, in 2000 and I think 12. And we talk about where the IBM Watson technology was new, and it was like a black box at that time. So in the last 7 to 10 years, several thousand people have lost their jobs in the BPO industry. So now, if you want to interact with any bank or you want to interact with any government organization, you don't talk to the people, you talk to AI. So, in my opinion, it's super crucial that we have to have an ethical analysis, ethical strategy at a private level, public sector level in place to make sure that how you can train people working in the organization. Implementation barrier. The biggest implementation barrier I have seen is basically is your own. Who's the vendor? How to use your own staff who's super cool, very efficient, but they don't know how to use AI. Yeah. So and then again, in several countries, you have a limited technical and expertise and inadequate training as well, which put you on a higher risk basically when you go for implementation for a large scale projects. And then of course the regulatory compliance. You need to look into what are the industry specific requirements, how you can interact with your partners, how you can interact with your customers, how you can interact or provide value added service to your different service providers. So those are still the challenges which you really need to look into it when you go for a large scale AI implementation for any project. So the future of AI, as we say, like AI driven blockchain. And UAE, I'll give you an example. So Dubai is basically have done an excellent job. We are talking about the blockchain strategy implementation. So according to the strategy document, we will be saving, if the blockchain strategy, which is almost implemented, there are several use cases which have been implemented. Some of them are in the place. So we are talking about here basically a paperless economy. So according to the studies, if they do it properly, they will be saving every year the money for building one Burj Khalifa every year with this like paperless blockchain strategy. And then, of course, we talk about the quantum computing, which is again a revolution, and it's a millions times faster. And we can see that it's happening. So computation, the processing power, and also like solving large complex issue is not gonna be the challenge anymore. And the third thing, which is my favorite, is neural language programming advancement. So how you train. I was like uh, in one of the session in the university, and I came to know that a lot of organizations around the world, the big one, they preferred Gen Z to come and work with them on the AI projects, because the way they think, they use the AI system is much faster than the people like us who have two or three PhD degrees. So next generation, so NLP, neural language programming, that how you interact, how you understand the context, emotion, creating truly natural language, a human interaction basically. I think in the next 5 years time, that is also going to the next level. Humanoid robots. Just imagine a person or a robot sitting next to you, and you are explaining them, teaching them how to cook, how to cut your hair, for example, how to clean your car, how to bring the grocery. So you will see all these things very normal, and it is happening, and it is happening quite fast. And the robots of building humanoid robots is going down very fast. So here I have two case study for two companies. One is a company called Zopa. I sit at the board of both companies. Zopa is a fantastic platform which have been introduced into the HR industry, and it's a Singapore-based company. They got a good funding from a Singaporean government, and it simply replace your whole HR. You just tell Zopa that I need these 10 top people. She will go, put everything, write the job description, put it on all the LinkedIn or all those famous job websites. Let's say 1,000 people apply. She will basically go and take the best people, do video interviews, and then after 10,000 CVs, she will tell you these are the top 10, and this is the dashboard. Behavioral analysis, how much they lie, are they really good for the organization or not? And 2 years ago, this job was done by around 20 people sitting in the organization. Another fantastic example of BizMoney, a US-based company. On the part of the advisory board, we are trying to push this. The last 1.5 year have raised around $10 million. Now the second round is going on. It's a super app. So super app is again another amazing concept, especially in the AI industry, specifically for the SME sector. So you can see that 80 to 90% of the country's GDP basically depends on SMEs. So what we can give to SMEs so they can actually reduce their cost and have an agile operation. So there we talk about the super app. So in this super app, for example, BizMoney, you have you have one-stop shop service. You can do B2B, you can do B2C transactions. You really don't need to go to WeChat or LinkedIn or Facebook or Instagram. Everything is built in at one place. So it's a fantastic e-marketplace where you can perform as a small business owner anything and everything what you really need from a technology perspective in one platform, and it's quite impressive. So this is my last slide. So the AI revolution requires your action today. So the question is not whether to adopt. So this is again a question a lot of organizations they think, shall we adopt AI or shall we leave it? So to be honest, the future of the professional service is going to be very, very intelligent, automated, and personalized. And your choice if you lead, follow, or you become obsolete. So I have covered pretty much top, especially for the SMEs. I have recently published books, two books. One is called AI for SME managers, SME leaders, so small and medium enterprise. So if you don't have any knowledge about automating your businesses using AI, so this book is for you. There is no much technical knowledge, but there are a lot of tools, a lot of case studies. It really helps you to have hands-on experience and how to start it within your organization, how you can manage the barriers you face, what sort of vendors you should select. So it covers pretty much everything to kickstart your journey for the SME. And the other book is basically about digital sovereignty. This is more about what happened to your data when you do any transaction, how the big giants around the world they are playing with your data, how scared you are, what sort of data management policies are available, including GDPR in Europe, PIPL in China, and how the big organizations, how the organizations like TikTok or many others, they play around with your data and how you can avoid it. So that's a small brief about my presentation by keeping in mind the time. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you, Dr. Usman. A very, very informative presentation there. There's lots of good points that I have some questions on. You said something in there about the cabs, and they basically work 24/7, and it reminded me of a conversation that I had with someone. I think it's Elon Musk that is designing the Tesla 3 to be an autonomous cab type vehicle. And the idea is for you to own it as your personal vehicle. It takes you to work, and then you let it go out and work for you while you are at the office. So the thought that I got there was, instead of looking at it as two people actually losing their jobs, maybe they can become a co-owner in a Tesla 3, and let the Tesla 3 go and work for them while they're out doing whatever else they need to do, right? So it can
Yeah,
go and make the money for them. So it's
it is a
interesting.
fantastic idea. I feel like I tell you one thing. I advise a lot of countries on mobility solutions, basically, and it's one of the major part of smart cities area. Even if you look at Dubai, for example, Dubai is one of the like example in the world when you talk about the utilization of technology. They have implemented several solutions, but traffic again is one of the things which people needs to manage. So, like I give you an example of Singapore. So they have something similar, have like a ride sharing app, for example.
Right.
So something like that. Because until unless you don't come up with those innovative models, and then you don't have a regularity framework behind them, it is very difficult to achieve. If one person is having three cars and everyone is on the road, it makes sense to me if I'm going in the same direction. So for example, I just give you like looking at the population traffic, the way it's coming up with a loop around the city. It's going to be around 92 95 kilometers long, where there's no car. It's eco-friendly. You can ride the bike, and you can go in the harsh weather as well. So many countries around the world who have implemented their smart cities initiative, they really work on the strategies like that. And you are absolutely right. I mean, you can create a lot of innovative business models which can basically facilitate the people, and you make more money out of it. And then you can keep going on.
Yeah, and it's just it's a matter of re-educating yourself on how you can do what you're currently doing just differently, right? Um, the other cool thing that you mentioned, and I just heard in a conversation with a client, a banking client of mine, is that they've created agents that they're going to be implementing over the next year that are actually going to work side by side with each human employee. So the agent is going to be on all of their like Teams calls and things like that and take notes and have access to those kind of things to where they can assist when needed in the various job duties and everything, which I think is a good start to actually understanding how much the agents can actually do when it comes to replicating what a human does. And it also leaves the human factor in there because, as you know, and Dr. Amir knows, the human has to make certain decisions that even a logical machine couldn't make because sometimes our decisions aren't necessarily in the logical sphere, they're in more of a creative or innovative sphere, right?
Yeah, I agree with you. And as I told you, like this year and the next 2 3 years, so agentic AI it's evolving. It goes back into your system, talk to customers. You can set several workflow processes behind it. But then again, AI is gonna go beyond that.
Right.
You're gonna have like a full flash integration or whatever you do. And this is where the even Elon Musk said like by 2035, or even Bill Gates, the human will left with almost no work. Yeah, so it's
Yeah,
quite
well,
a bold statement.
going to be an
But
interesting ride to see how we innovate through that and redesign how we work with the AI and how robotics comes out and does the different things that it's already able to do in many areas. So, Dr. Amir, um, you have the unique business contribution. I'm curious. This year, I've seen a lot of companies talk about, okay, now we're not going to like research and test this stuff. We're going to actually implement and we're going to be outcomes focused, not value focused. So, where does where does the outcome focus and the unique business contribution kind of fit together? Because to me, it sounds similar, but I'm guessing you have some take on how they're different.
Yes. First of all, with your permission, I would just like to have one note concerning the AI and what we have spoke in the last
Sure.
conversation with the future of AI. Well, I don't know why, but whenever I say the same sentence, everybody make me crazy and they get mad on me. At the end of the day, AI is a tool.
Yes.
AI is a great tool. And like it was the atomic bomb that has two faces, the good side and the bad side, like cell phone has a good side and bad side, AI will have the same. The issue is that we as a community, as a country, as a nations, we need to put limits by using ethical principles. If we will not do that, it will be the same like the atomic bomb that can destroy the world in a second. So this is one thing. Secondly, I think that because the social media, the heap on AI is very in more unbelievable wave.
Right.
I want to take you back to 1986. I don't know if you can recall it, if you can remember it. I got the first IBM PC 80, the size of a giant mainframe on a complete floor was minimized into a box.
Yep.
That was a huge jump. Without noise, he changed the world. Steve Jobs, with the cell phone, changed the world completely without big noise. Now, because the social media, everybody is on the hip, and I do hope that it will not be like a balloon that will blow up and trillions of dollars, as I read already, trillions of dollars will vanish just because everybody is seeking for a quick buck. And we forget what does it mean to be human and what does it mean to work and what does it mean to have a relationship. And a relationship is the main issue for your question. Uh, Speaking about outcome, I work as a salesperson in the beginning of the 1990, and we speak about outcome. However, and this is the big differentiation, when most companies speak about outcome, they speak with a relationship between them and their customers. But it's very easy to demonstrate and to prove that the one that is actually driving the business wheel, not the sales process, the business wheel, it's not the buyer. In the B2B, for example, is not the buyer. It's the end consumer down the value chain. So the most important person in the room is the end consumer. And if I, as a seller, will know in advance what the end consumer needs and wants and goals, and I will be able to fulfill it and reach to my customer. And instead of saying him, quote, I want to sell you, I will rephrase it and I will say, listen, my dear potential customer, I will work with you and with your customer so the end consumer will be happy. Now, what happened? The end consumer is very happy with the solution. He sees that it fulfills his needs and his goals. Then he will buy more from his seller, that will buy more from his seller, will buy more from me. It's a chain. We cannot cut the chain. We need to look and to examine and to analyze the entire chain, however, from the end to the seller. Not from the seller to the buyer, but from the end consumer upward the value chain until the seller. This is one thing. Secondly, where's the ethics? Where is the principle? I, as a customer, I'm a partner in a UK company. And when I came across the website, the first thing that catch my eyes, it's the startup. It's not their innovative concept and all this stuff. They present immediately their values, their ethical behavior, their promise, how they work with you. Now, unfortunately, especially in today's environment, the lack of trust is unbelievable.
Right.
And we need to create this trust because you want that your suppliers will treat you well, will give you the right service, the right solution based on what is fitted for you, will take care of you, will give you a fair price. As I can remember from different places in the world, it is not working in this way. So when I, as a seller, immediately present and tell you, listen, my dear potential customer, I work with you based on those criterias. This is my ethics concept. Immediately it improves the trust. And the last thing, the concept of the UBC is bigger. I try to pick up a couple of most important items. And the last one is the KPI. How you, Mr. Customer, and me, the seller, what our joint KPI. Before the project, before the implementation, I declare it upfront so the customer knows exactly what he will get for the entire sales process. Now, if I as a seller use this to reduce the buyer fears and to improve the buyer buying process, then we create a long-term business relationship that emphasize the trust that we have between us.
Yeah, I like that. I think, it's funny that always end up coming back to a similar uh concept, which is, the ethics, and ethics is a lot about, what your values are, what the communication between you and your potential client, and that trust relationship, and the building of the trust relationship. Um, but the piece that's confusing to a lot of people, and going back to your 1986 um, suggestion or revelation that there were IBM computers, and I think they had like IBM clone computers were coming out too, so everybody could like create and put together their own PC, which was like the craze, that had about as much memory as you know uh, I don't even think we have anything electronic that has that little of a memory now, right? So
Yes.
but over the years, I think the reason that some of those things were silent is because of the information dissemination path was not so vast and wide. We're still in our infancy in the internet and how we consume information. So while our generation and the younger generations are getting used to working more and more online in the cloud on the internet and doing our social activities there, it's still a massive amount of information, and people are having, especially now in this day and age, a hard time deriving what they need to look at, not look at, believe, not believe, trust, not trust, and it goes back to, I heard somebody say, well, you know, never trust a single source. If you want to trust something, go to different sources that don't always have the same opinion, and go to at least five of them. And if you hear the same thing in all five locations, then you can trust that same thing to a degree for the most part, right? So I think that, but that's online. So a lot of the Gen Z have started getting back together in real life so that they could see each other face to face, which gets back to that human connection, that physical relationship building. And there's a lot more trust when you're right in front of somebody and can actually see, their body expressions, how they react, what they're doing. So I think that, we have a lot of learning when it comes to still how much information we get and what can AI do for us in that regards, and what's automation with AI going to do for us. We had a great example of a ethical, what I'll call an ethical security conundrum over the past week and a half. There was a developer that um, created or vibe coded a software called ClaudeBot, which went changed its name to MoltBot, which now is, I think, OpenClaw. And everybody was like just going insane on YouTube and on the internet, social media about this, saying, "Hey, I just implemented this and it's going and it's doing all this stuff for me. It's creating the software and it reorganized my files and it did all this." And then 24 hours later, they came back and they said, "Oh my God, it deleted all of my, childhood photos, or it went into my bank account and it started purchasing these programs that it thought it needed to learn from." And then, I noticed that as a programmer, I asked it, "Are you storing all of my passwords and API keys in a secure location?" And it ended up that they were in a just a text file on the server. So people, while it's fun to play with those things, they still don't have the big picture on how dangerous some of these AI
Yes.
softwares can be, right? So
Yes. So
they kind of they gotta they get a false sense of security when somebody goes on YouTube and says, "Oh, I just started and I'm just using this," and then they go try to install it, completely non-technical person installing it. They don't realize that they're doing it and giving it access to everything and potentially could lose everything, you know?
that's why I think that the education system should recreate itself and
Yes.
change the focus on critical thinking, to think about with whom I should work with, to take a piece of data and to know how to analyze it in the right way. That's the main purpose of the education system and also of the parents. They need to take care after the children's because nobody see what they are doing with their cell phone. And
Yeah.
that's, I think it's a great damage that I don't know what will be in the future. And I think that based on my research with the book that I wrote under the title "And God Creates Business First," that it's under one umbrella. I to take together the three major religions: the Jewish, the Muslims, and the Christian, and I was able to demonstrate that the entire ethical principles are there. We only need to take them out and implement it in our lives, nothing new.
Yeah.
So, when I speak about trust, you mentioned nowadays with the Gen Z, think about those kids, if I may call them, those 20s,
Right.
for example. In 20 years, they will be the leaders. And still, we are human beings. And the moment that robot will start selling to a robot, I think that we finish the human generation here in this world. So I will not be here, so I don't know what will be then. However, we need to teach them how to create trust because this is the foundation of our relationship. And we can see the chaos of today market. It's a big jungle and without respect and only money. So we have a lot of work to do in order to create a better world. And my dream and my purpose, my life purpose, is to support businesses to have a better solution for the society well-being. If not, we will kill ourselves. And I don't like this idea.
Yeah, no, that's not ever a good idea. I think it's my hope for AI in the future is that we get to a point where we understand how to effectively use AI and robotics as a tool to allow us to become the curious explorers that most of us humans are. We're curious human beings, we're curious individuals, animals. If we see something, we need to go figure out what it is. We need to test it out, right? At the most simplest level, we need to touch the hot stove to make sure it's hot, right?
Yes.
But I think in with respect to AI and automation and how businesses are going towards more automated and less human working, we also have completely new areas that are going to open up to us through quantum computing. Once quantum computing gets solidified, I mean, there are companies, I think there's one in Sweden who has just increased by an exponential number the amount of qubits that work with. I know that IBM is working on, a super quantum computer as well. Once those quantum computers get uh, um, kind of normalized so that we can use them for things that we think we want to use them for, we will get many more ideas. And my hope is that allows us to become explorers and actually do things like the Elon Musks and the Richard Bransons of the world want to do, and that's explore space. Like we're one world in a vast array of hundreds, thousands, or millions of other worlds out there that we could potentially go and explore. And what does
Yes,
that future look like,
we,
right?
we can we can explore and we can invest trillions of dollars to understand many, many things. One thing that is bother me is that shouldn't we invest those dollars into or with a better benefits for the entire society? Let's focus on bringing more fruits, more advanced agricultures. Let's produce water. Let's do good things for the world. And and again, I will repeat this. And in a way, it's connected. We are human beings, and if I want uh, to put that to only things about myself, I don't think this is the right idea. I think that we all need to think one another to see how I can support you and how can you support me. AI will support us to reduce different kind of works, but however, different jobs and options will come across because we see nowadays that new jobs in new area that we just discover.
Right.
And I think that we need to be more careful with using AI and really, unless it will be like a balloon that it will blow up, unless we will not think in the right way how we handle this, um, I think it will be not in the right way that will take the world into a bad situation.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you on that topic. We can definitely there are ways that AI can help us improve life here, right? There's many, many places that we need to um, what I'll call normalized life. There's many countries that are without water, without food, um, and there's plenty of water on this earth. It's just not all drinkable. And I think that, with the ability to process ideas faster, the humans are still going to have to come up with the innovations because a computer is never going to be anything other than a logical thing, right? I don't know that we're going to get to this artificial general or artificial super intelligence because behind the scenes, it's still logical. It would have to create a brand new idea out of thin air, and I think we're still years away from that. But it can put multiple ideas together to figure out better ways to manufacture things, better ways to filter water into clean water, better ways to manufacture it so that it's cheaper to distribute that to different countries who don't have the same capabilities to afford things like that, such as, the US, UK, Israel, UAE. We have to think of kind of normalizing life on Earth to where everyone has that opportunity, that equal opportunity for, the basic needs, food, shelter, water,
Mm.
right? So, and the amazing thing that's going to happen with that is I think there's many individuals and many human beings in some of these countries that are impoverished that could potentially become future leaders with ideas that they have from experiences that they've seen that none of us have seen because we weren't in a country that experienced the the kind of environment that they've experienced in. So I
Yes.
mean I have a feeling that AI can help us on both fronts. It's just like you said, we have to use the tool effectively, right? It has to be used as something that allows us to move forward and hopefully not something that's used entirely for greed and power.
Yes. Well, what Dr. Usman described about uh, the automation vehicle and how this might support for a global warmth because it will manage the entire car systems to be more effective and reduce the gasoline consumptions. So I'm sure the Dr. Usman know much better than I do. I don't like to drive at all, but for me, I see all those traffic jam across the world, how many hours we lost in this way, the gasoline, the pollution, and so on and so on. If someone will have a solution for this, that would be great. It will save hours of losing or staying in the ways and wasting time and create more uh, noise in this world.
Yeah. And we have some countries out there that have done a really good job on providing, alternative means of transportation other than vehicles, right? Um, I can't think of an amazing system in the US, but I know many places in Europe have very good metros that you can utilize, buses that you can utilize that are fairly safe and clean, efficient, and fast. There's, uh, one of my favorite places with the means of transportation that's non-car is like in Tokyo in Japan. Like that's you can get almost anywhere in Japan through their train system. So I think there's ways that we can definitely improve the transportation. There'll always be people who are advocates to have automobiles and do things like that, but those hopefully will become fewer and fewer. There's many people that live in New York City that don't even own a car, right? Because they walk everywhere or they take, a cab or the metro or some other means of transportation, just mainly because it's such a pain to drive in the city. So
It's impossible to drive in Manhattan. So
I think there's
let's
Dr. Usman, do you have,
let's encourage Dr. Usman to
yeah,
find a way to reduce this problem for the sake of the world, not only in those places like Japan, but there are other places like India, like in Israel, like in Europe also, that the traffic is enormous. And
yeah,
really, we need to find something that to solve it.
Yeah, I have like quite an interesting experience though. So, for example, I'm working with a team in Kenya, for example, in Nairobi. I mean, the traffic problems over there is quite different than the profit traffic problem we have in Dubai. So every country have its own unique USPs and unique problems also. And the solution which you provide in certain places might not be applicable to the other country as well. So I strongly believe it always start from the right strategy, that how you're going to look into the problem, how you're going to solve it. And in my opinion, technology, as you guys mentioned, is just like a tool, that how effectively we can use those tools basically to make the life of the people much better. So now, for example, like I just give you an example of Emirates again. So we have like population increase from 3 to 5% every year, and there are a lot of people flying into UAE and setting up the businesses here, starting their life also. But again, there are a lot of other challenges from a mobility point of view, and other. So we have seen, I mean, that the leaders here have taken like a bold steps in order to facilitate, like the overflow, making sure to provide the right value added services to the investors. Either you are interacting with any government organization, 90% of your jobs you can do online while sitting at home. Similarly, on the traffic side, and now the 2040 model of Dubai is amazing. And I have seen the similar type of models that being implemented in Singapore and some other countries, where the citizens should be able to commute anywhere in the city in less than 20 minutes. So, so those are quite innovative models, and there are a lot of innovative business models also, are integrated into the transportation. And as like Philip gave an example of the Europe, they have very well, I must say, I call it integrated transportation system, where you integrate
Yeah.
basically your buses, your metros, your even ferries or whatever the means of transportation is. So yes, I mean, there is a lot which have been achieved, and there is a lot which needs to be done. And I think, as far as technology is concerned, there are no limitation. It's always about having the right people with the right strategy in place to take things to the next level.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Well, it looks like we're at, we've got a few minutes left. What I'll do is, if you guys are good, we can just share our LinkedIn credentials here. I'll share them with everyone. And that way, if anyone watching, um, especially on the replays, wants to reach out to any one of us, feel free. Here are our LinkedIn um, profiles, and there also will be some additional information that gets sent out with the replay. If you signed up through the web portal, then you'll get the replay. So, and that's also it's also available on the YouTube, and you'll see various LinkedIn posts from me over the course of the next week that'll have that information in it as well. But
Lovely.
again, I want to thank Dr. Amir, Dr. Usman. Thank you so much. I've had an amazing time, chatting. Love the presentations, and I think it's definitely beneficial for the audience out there.
Thank you very
Thank you,
much.
David, for it. And it's lovely talking to you, Dr. Amir.
My pleasure. And I hope that I will see you, that I will meet you soon.
Yeah, you're both of you are welcome, and
Oh
looking
yeah,
forward. Yep.
yeah. I'll definitely look you up when I head out there. Uh, if not before, especially when I go get the turnover for the condo.
Okay.
Done, fair enough. So let's have a housewarming party.
Of course.
Okay. Thank you very
All
much.
right.
Bye bye.
Thank you
Thank you.
all. Bye bye.
Bye.
Thank you.